There is so much to react to with this season of Love is Blind, but I'm going to start with what I believe is the most alarming red flag I've seen so far. So let's talk about Edmond's behavior, which can be confusing and hard to understand, but I'm going to break it all down for you so that by the end of this video, you will have a deepened understanding of how unhealed trauma can show up in relationships, why Kalybriah was drawn to Edmond, and you will also gain important guidance for dating, personal growth, and relationships overall. And also for this video, I will be using clips from all 6 episodes that have just dropped. Hi, I'm Dr. Pam, therapist and relationship counselor, and I am so deeply passionate about helping you grow, both in your relationships and personally. And if that is something that you would like more of, I'd love for you to subscribe so we can keep growing together. And I do also want to mention that I am aware that Love is Blind is a heavily edited show, so my comments are based solely on what we see in front of us so that I can provide you with relationship insights. Okay, let's start right here.
Wow.
Dang, it felt good kissing something right now too, bro. I ain't kissed nothing in so long.
I am sure this looks bizarre for all of you watching. It actually caught me by surprise. You might conclude that Edmond is simply unusual, but I actually feel deeply concerned for him. I worry that his experience on Love is Blind could be re-traumatizing. The intensity of the show, the exposure, and the emotional pressure from this environment might deepen the wounds that I believe he is already carrying, which I will talk about. Before I share what I think is happening in this moment when he's kissing the floor, let me share this with you.
All my life, I've been in the foster care system. My parents, they either had custody of me or that I was like in custody of the state. So I was like staying with random families. I was really just like in and out of like foster care homes and like really being rotated and like being separated from my brothers. And when I was in the custody of my parents, whenever they got us back for like 2 months or 3 months or however long it was just, would you be back out of the home because of something that they did?
This is so heartbreaking to watch. One of the deepest effects of growing up in foster care is the lack of stability, never knowing if care or love will last. And that instability leaves an imprint that often carries into adult relationships. And it can show up as fear, insecurity, and a deep longing for love and feeling safe. So this is likely not the first time that Edmond has kissed the floor. I'll explain why in a moment, but I also want to suggest that it is possible that Edmond was placed in foster care from infancy, because he does say he was in and out of foster homes his whole life. The challenge is that when the trauma happened early in life, part of us can get emotionally stuck there. So in adulthood, we are still reacting from the age that we were when the pain first happened. And no doubt that Edmond has endured so much trauma. So through the lens of unhealed trauma, what we are seeing when he kisses the floor is severe longing for love and affection. When he said that he hadn't kissed a woman in a long time while kissing the floor, yes, it looked odd, but here's what I believe. Love and affection are not luxuries. They are survival. Many years ago, when I worked as a social worker, I witnessed babies who were at risk of death from something called failure to thrive. These were babies who were fed, who were given their bottles while in their carriers, but they were not held or touched. And without that physical affection, their bodies began to shut down. That's how vital love, connection, and physical touch are. From the very beginning, we literally cannot survive without them. And this doesn't change as we grow up. When someone has lived a life without consistent affection, moving through foster homes, not knowing if love will stay, that need doesn't disappear. It builds. It becomes intense, sometimes desperate. So for Edmond, that moment of him kissing the floor was the picture of a man aching for love and affection, and a need that is as essential for him now as it was when he was a baby. When longing comes out this intensely, it can overwhelm a partner. Next, Edmond shares that his life was saved by his 5th grade teacher. We don't know what she did to save him, but the memory clearly impacts him.
I'm getting better with my emotions and stuff. Like, I think, like, just growing up, like, you gotta be tough and, like, don't cry.
It's okay. It's okay, babe. It's okay. Yeah, I appreciate you being able to sit here and be vulnerable with me through this wall. Like, I know that's not easy, but it actually means that you're strong as hell and you're emotionally intelligent.
Once again, this is heartbreaking to witness just how much pain Edmond is in. And Kalybriah draws the conclusion that Edmond is emotionally intelligent because he is crying. When we see someone cry, our natural and appropriate response is to feel compassion. But we have to be careful about the conclusions we draw. Crying on its own isn't necessarily a sign of emotional intelligence. What we are seeing in Edmond isn't emotional intelligence, but rather emotional fragility, and the two are very different. Emotional intelligence is about being able to understand, regulate, and communicate emotions in a balanced way. Emotional fragility, on the other hand, reflects being overwhelmed by emotions without the tools to manage them. In Edmond's case, this fragility likely stems from what he missed out on as a child, the nurturing, consistency, and safety that parents or caretakers provide. Without that foundation, children don't learn emotional regulation. Instead, their emotional world can remain uncontained, spilling out in ways that feel childlike. And that's what I see most strongly in Edmond, childlike reactions to situations that ask for more adult emotional skills. And I'll share more examples of that as we go through this video.
Oh, like, you're like really like the only one. Like, I'm not even saying, like, really.
Wow. Like, I truly, truly, truly appreciate you for being able to be vulnerable with me.
It's likely that Kalybriah's beliefs about Edmond make her feel special, like she has exclusive access to a deeper part of him. But let me say this about vulnerability, because vulnerability is complicated. Yes, we are vulnerable when we express our pain, but vulnerability on its own doesn't necessarily equal strength. The more important question is this: how is that vulnerability being managed? Do we hold our pain with emotional maturity, sharing it in ways that allows connection and growth? Or does our pain overwhelm us and others, leaving us fragile and unable to regulate what we feel? The distinction matters because when vulnerability comes from fragility rather than maturity, it can create an illusion of what intimacy is and isn't. And the fragility in vulnerability in a relationship is not sustainable. It feels tender in the moment, but without the skills to regulate, it often leaves both people feeling destabilized rather than securely connected. And while she is believing one thing, Edmond communicates this to the men in the lounge.
Love.
Yeah, let's
I'm
go.
serious, bro. I'm gonna be hyped. Like, this shit, tired of this shallow shit. Too shallow right now. Too shallow.
What are you asking?
You gonna have my babies?
Edmond says that conversations with Kalybriah are not deep enough, while Kalybriah believes they are having deep, vulnerable conversations. This shows how differently people can define what deep means for them. For Edmond, deep isn't about emotional exploration or mutual understanding. It's about jumping straight into the idea of having children. It's very possible that Edmond's longing to have babies comes from a place of wanting to create the family he never had. Having grown up in foster care, he may equate depth with securing family ties as quickly as possible. But what's missing is the step of self-awareness, understanding how his upbringing and trauma shaped that longing and how those needs might come across in a relationship. Also, this is why it is so important to not draw conclusions about someone too early. Kalybriah doesn't yet know the whole picture. She hasn't seen Edmond kissing the floor in the men's lounge, and she may not realize that for him, deep means, will you have my babies? That's not the same as building emotional intimacy. These kind of realizations only come with time as you truly get to know who someone is beneath first impressions. It also is important to remember what Kalybriah has shared with us. She doesn't have a relationship with her father despite her best efforts. Let's watch.
I don't talk to my dad. He was absent father. I feel like I'm having to grieve someone that isn't gone. Like I'm having to grieve someone that's still here. Mm-hmm. And someone that I really wanted a relationship with, and someone that I've told on multiple occasions how I feel and why did you ever feel like it was okay to stop being a father? He don't get it.
So that means that she is carrying her own trauma, likely rooted in abandonment, rejection, and perhaps a sense of feeling unlovable. And this is what I think Edmond brings to her.
Yeah.
Well, hey, my love, how you feeling?
I'm doing pretty magnificent, especially I'm here with you.
You making my heart flutter.
Yeah, but I'm gonna talk to you later on. I can't even wait. I'm gonna go back in that room so excited.
You got me blushing.
KB, you great. KB, you great. You great.
When Edmond shows such strong enthusiasm for her, it's very appealing. It likely makes her feel wanted, maybe even loved, something that she has longed for and never received from her father. Next, she asks Edmond if he wants a traditional or non-traditional marriage. He says non-traditional and then says this.
I want something different. I like your own special thing.
Yeah, I think I'm more so non-traditional. I'm okay if I was the breadwinner.
Okay.
And I'm okay if my husband was the breadwinner. I'm okay if I cook. I'm okay if my husband cooks. I'm okay if I take care of the kids. I'm okay if my husband take care of kids. I am very much a 50-50 kind of woman.
Here's my concern. From what we see here, again, this is Love is Blind and it is heavily edited, but she really isn't listening to him. What stands out right now is how quickly she moves past his answer rather than slowing down to really hear him and ask him to say more rather than simply saying that he wants his own special thing. This is an important dynamic to notice. Two people with trauma, his longing to create the family he never had and her longing to feel wanted and loved. Well, they both have a longing to feel wanted and loved, but this can easily be why they are drawn to each other's intensity. But intensity alone is not the same as compatibility, and it can sometimes mask the places where listening, understanding, and true emotional depth are missing.
When it comes to Edmond, I truly feel safe. I feel vulnerable. I feel like he's like my best friend. It's like, I mean, we had our first date, we were in there crying. And so it was just like, well, God damn it. We're able to have fun. Like, we're able to be goofy, like enjoy each other's presence, then be like, okay, let's get serious. Yeah. It just feels like I've known this man forever. That sounds so delusional.
So we know that Love is Blind was intentional in how they edited what I just showed you, showing Kalybriah's serious feelings about Edmond and then cutting straight to a clip of Edmond spinning on the floor like a child. Now, context matters here. An adult being playful and spinning on the floor in isolation is not a problem. Playfulness can be very healthy. But in Edmond's case, this behavior doesn't stand alone. We've already witnessed childlike behaviors, kissing the floor, struggling to regulate his emotions. And when you begin to put these things together, you begin to see a fuller picture of unresolved trauma. What looks playful in one moment may actually be part of a broader pattern of emotional immaturity. And meanwhile, Kalybriah is only experiencing him inside the pods. She doesn't see the full range of these behaviors. And because of her own history of abandonment and longing to feel loved and safe, she has a blind spot. Edmond's childlike innocence, he isn't mean, sarcastic, or threatening. And for someone with her background, that can feel safe, even comforting. The concern, though, is that she may not recognize what's underneath that innocence. Trauma can make someone seem gentle and vulnerable, but without the skills of emotional regulation and maturity, that same dynamic can become destabilizing in a relationship over time.
I'm just figuring out and learning how to love you, but I'm not figuring out who to love kind of thing.
That was an excellent awareness and question, meaning she wants to know more of who he is as a person. I'm not exactly sure what she means when she says she's figuring out how to love him, but let's see where this goes.
I really feel wanted by you, and I love that, and I want you to. I feel like in my past like relationships, like so I was sad, but like wanting that love. But now like I'm happy and wanting that love, and it's my first time doing that.
So important to go into a relationship when I'm preparing myself for marriage at peace and already happy with myself, because before my happiness was based off the person I was dating, and that is such a toxic trait.
Did you notice that he didn't really answer her question, unless of course it was edited out? Notice that the first thing that Edmond offers to describe who he is that he feels wanted by Kalybriah. And because he has been longing for love, he is now happy, believing that he has finally found it. That's telling. For him, identity seems to come through whether he feels chosen or desired, rather than through a sense of self built on his values, strengths, or his life experiences. Meanwhile, Kalybriah is very focused on communicating her own belief, which of course is important. But what's missing here is her slowing down to draw more out of Edmond. She could have followed up with questions like, why does feeling wanted say something about who you are as a person? Or she could ask him specifics such as, how would your friends describe you? Or what have you learned most from your experiences growing up in foster care? These kinds of questions help someone reveal more of themselves beyond the surface. And in relationships, I always encourage people to ask even deeper questions. How do you approach conflict in relationships? What have you learned about yourself from your past relationships? Those are the questions that begin to uncover not just who someone appears to be in the moment, but who they are over time.
What made you find peace?
Definitely my rollerblade community. If something was to happen, I got like a great community, so I'm like peaceful with that because I know I got support and stuff. I'm really big with like making other people like my family. Like I would love to be a part of your family, and like I'm gonna treat it as blood.
What did you notice about Edmond's answer? His focus was almost entirely on the support he receives from community. He even says that he's big on making other people his family. That's very telling. Essentially, he's communicating that he relies on others to meet his needs, which makes sense given everything that he likely went through in the foster care system and the longing for connection that comes with that history. But here's the important part. While leaning on community can be healthy, growth also means learning how to meet some of your own needs. Without that, he risks placing too much weight on others to provide the sense of family stability and identity he's been searching for. And in a relationship, it isn't just about how someone supports you. It is also about what you bring to the other person. That balance is a crucial part of emotional maturity, and it is a place where Edmond still has some growth work to do. Next, Kalybriah asked Edmond how did he go about forgiving his mom.
I know she loves me, and like I love her no matter what. I don't want her to miss out on like my life and like her kids, her grandkids, all because like the past. I just approach it with a positive mindset. No matter what, that's my mom.
That's really a sweet answer from Edmond, but what's missing is insight. It's hard to know if his forgiveness of his mother comes from a grounded, reflective place, or is it because he needs so much from her that forgiveness feels like the only path to feel loved. When he says he doesn't want her to miss out on being part of his future children's lives, it's touching. But notice again the childlike quality in his reasoning. For him, forgiveness isn't a result of understanding or healing or his own growth work, but around keeping the door open so that he can still receive something from her, which is completely understandable. I believe Kalybriah is genuinely touched by Edmond's response. It does sound tender, but what she may be missing is that there isn't much depth behind his forgiveness. And without that depth, forgiveness can look more like a longing and a hope rather than true repair or reconciliation. Calabria shares more regarding the impact of having an absent father. Let's watch.
When you said why it was so easy for you to forgive her is because you know that she loves you. And I think that's the problem for me. I don't know that from him. It made me have to be so strong when I didn't want to be strong. I act like I'm okay with never having that relationship again, but I don't know if I mean it. I act like it doesn't bother me, but it do.
There's a lot to unpack into what Calabria shared. She acknowledged that the impact of her father being absent still hurts her, and she shared that she is tired of being strong. We don't know exactly how this has played out for her in her life, but there are a few concerning patterns to notice. First, when she says that she acts like it doesn't bother her, but it really does, it makes me wonder, what else might she be blocking out without realizing it? When blocking becomes your main coping mechanism, it can spill into other areas of your life in ways that don't serve you. For example, you might ignore red flags in relationships because you've trained yourself to minimize pain rather than confront it. Second, when she says that she's tired of being strong, that often means that she has been shutting down her own emotions and putting other needs ahead of her own. Defining strength in that sense isn't resilience, it is self-erasure. And here's where it connects back to Edmond. For someone like Kalybriah, who longs to feel wanted and cared for after years of feeling abandoned, Edmond's intensity and enthusiasm are very appealing. His intense need makes her feel deeply wanted, and that soothes her old wounds, at least temporarily. But without her own growth work, she may mistake that intensity for true intimacy. Her growth work is learning how to honor her feelings, recognizing her needs as valid, and stop minimizing her pain. When she does that, she'll be far more likely to create a balanced and healthy relationship.
Oh, Kalybriah, I love you too. I love you so much. And thank you. My underarm getting sweaty just because I'm about to. Kalybriah, Zaire. Would you pretty please marry me, please?
Edmond's proposal is sadly another example of his childlike patterns. To say pretty please, will you marry me, is something you'd expect a child to say, not an adult making a lifelong commitment. It shows how Edmond approaches serious, emotionally weighty moments with the language and posture of a child. The concern is that while it may come across as sweet or innocent to someone like Kalybriah, especially given her longing to feel wanted, over time, this kind of childlike approach to intimacy and commitment can leave a relationship feeling imbalanced. One partner ends up carrying more of the emotional weight, while the other remains in a position of need.
Wow! Let's go! Let's go! It just started. It's a whole new level now. Thank you. Thank you.
You're gonna wear me out.
Let's go!
So that was Edmond's reaction to Kalybriah saying yes to his marriage proposal. And I had to show you this moment because when Kalybriah says, "You're going to wear me out," that's a huge red flag. It's also a blind spot for her. What she doesn't seem to realize is that Edmond's strong and intense needs really will wear her out over time. Right now, she may interpret his intensity as passion or deep love, but the reality is that constantly having to meet someone else's overwhelming needs, intensity, and lack of emotional maturity can become exhausting in a relationship. So moving forward, they meet each other in person, and now they are at the resort. So let me show you part of an exchange. This is where Kalybriah creates a scenario. She shares with Edmond that she imagines being at a bar and a man has put his hand on her. And she really pushes the idea that this man won't let up. Let's take a look at how this conversation unfolds.
Walk away, baby, come on.
I'm trying to walk, you grab my arm.
Oh, baby, come on, just follow me, let's walk.
He grabbed my arm.
I know, then we gotta get, like, security, because, like, he tripping.
So Edmond said that he would walk away or call security, and that's actually an appropriate response to the scenario that she created. But Kalybriah continues to challenge Edmond with this kind of scenario.
He grabbed me, your wife, and you got no reaction.
I'm not gonna cause no confrontation.
So you know that when we leave, I'm gonna be angry with you.
Oh my goodness, but I'm like, baby, like.
You're supposed to be my protector, and you don't even try to say nothing to him. You don't try to move his hand. You're like, security.
It seems like what Kalybriah wanted to hear was that he would physically step in and maybe even fight. She communicates that his way isn't really protecting her. When she says that she would be angry with him, I am imagining for him, that stirs up a lot in him. Fear of losing love, for one.
He could be in a wheelchair.
And you still not gonna get this man's hand off me.
I'm not gonna place my hands on no man. That's not like a handshake or a hug.
Okay, here's the important question. What does protection really mean? Edmond's approach was to de-escalate the situation by involving security or walking away, while Kalybriah's imagined version escalates it into a physical altercation. I am assuming. Of course, no woman wants to be touched without her consent. That's frightening and absolutely not okay. But Edmond's choice of response was still appropriate. It makes me wonder where her idea of protection comes from and why she has decided that Edmond should react with more force. Because what she's asking for isn't just protection, it's a specific performance of masculinity. Trauma survivors sometimes confuse emotional safety with physical dominance, and Edmond, being who he is, doesn't meet that expectation. Did Edmond have a strong reaction to even the thought of another man putting his hands on her? No, he didn't. But that's Edmond. Like I've said before, he approaches situations with a kind of innocence, almost childlike, and that shapes the way he responds.
Oh, Evan!
Kalybriah is beginning to notice behaviors in Edmond that she may find troubling. You can see it in the way she corrects him, almost like a mother correcting a very young child who doesn't know better. That's not the kind of dynamic most people want in a romantic relationship, because once a partner starts to feel like they're parenting the other, it shifts the balance and can quickly become unsustainable. Now, it's worth mentioning that Edmond had just found out from the other men that they were all having sex. So it's possible that his behavior was partly a performance, an attempt to prove his masculinity or sexuality in a dramatic way. But whether it was performance or not, what stands out is that he doesn't fully grasp the impact of what he's doing. That's the deeper concern. Without self-awareness, his efforts to manage his feelings of perhaps inadequacy or to show he's a man end up coming out in ways that confuse, embarrass, or even trouble his partner. And finally, the bedroom scene. You know that they are having a conversation about sex. She wants to wait until they are married, and Edmond discovers that Kalybriah has had one-night stands. So let's see where this goes.
I'm the only dude on the trip that ain't get to have sex with you. I'm giving you my all. You let dudes that ain't even care about you, let them have sex with you? Oh my. No, you let other dudes that you don't care about, whatever the case is, they got one night stand. And here I am rubbing your feet, giving you my...
Edmond is viewing sex as transactional, as if rubbing Kalybriah's feet is him giving his all, and in return, she should have sex with him. From a trauma perspective, this makes sense. Emotional reactions that come from unhealed trauma often reflect the age that we were when the trauma occurred. For Edmond, his understanding of love and intimacy seems to have stopped developing at a much younger emotional age. He's trying to give and receive love in ways that feel meaningful to him, but they are rooted in a childlike understanding. If I do something nice for you, you'll love me back and do something nice for me. It's not manipulative, it's developmental. He is reacting from unmet need for love and affirmation that he never consistently received growing up. This is why when we see emotional immaturity, what we are really seeing in someone is their deep-rooted pain that likely comes from trauma.
And you tell me about marriage, and if it don't work.
So if it don't, I can have sex with you this week and we can say I don't at the altar.
I know.
I still would like to wait until marriage.
I know.
I refuse to play with you. And when it comes to sex in my eyes and sex in your eyes, I would say sex is a little more sacred to you than it is to me.
Again, Kalybriah is drawing conclusions very early. Nothing about what Edmond said suggests that sex is sacred to him, so it's unclear why she interprets it that way. And it's also confusing that she says sex isn't sacred to her, yet she wants to wait until marriage. There's a contradiction there, one that may reflect her own uncertainty about what sex means to her, emotionally and perhaps spiritually. This kind of contradiction is common when we've been shaped by mixed messages about love and worth. We say one thing about intimacy and feel another emotionally.
I'm in it more than you, and it's okay, but you just hurt.
Why do you feel that way though? I'll let you know you're my handsome king,
I'm like,
my baby. This is me.
No, and I can't be in my. I'm serious. I'm just always the nice guy.
This is hard to watch. Edmond is in visible distress. He appears to be feeling this pain both emotionally and physically. For him, this moment likely touches something much deeper, the pain of love and affection that were withheld from him since likely infancy. It's as if his body remembers what it feels like to feel unloved or untouched, and that early deprivation is surfacing right here.
Beat me up, I'm too nice. It beat me up, I'm too nice. I'm too nice. Weird, yo.
Wanna talk to me?
It's like I'm too nice. And I heard that, I know that, I get told that.
Edmond has said that he's been told that he's too nice, and I can understand why people might say that to him. But what they're really responding to is the childlike innocence they see in him. But they may not realize that what they are actually seeing is an adult man who is emotionally stuck at a very young age. What we are witnessing here isn't the pain of an adult navigating rejection. It is the pain of a child being expressed through an adult body. His reactions are coming from that early place of hurt that never had the chance to heal.
We can call this shit a night, to be honest with you.
Remember when Kalybriah said that Edmond was going to wear her down? Well, that is exactly what we're seeing here. I don't know where this will go, but as I have said, I worry about the lasting emotional impact this experience might have on Edmond. While Kalybriah certainly has her own growth work ahead of her, I don't believe that this experience will traumatize her in the same way I fear that it could re-traumatize Edmond. For someone with his history, moments like these can reopen old wounds, the pain of being unseen, unchosen, or left behind. Healing begins with awareness. My hope is that both of them and anyone watching who relates to their pain can start recognizing the patterns that repeat, not to feel shame, but to grow beyond them. Well, that is a wrap on this episode. If you found value in this video, please give it a thumbs up, share it with someone who might benefit, and don't forget to subscribe so we can stay connected and keep growing together. See you in the next video.